Hi. Hi.
Uh,
Well, this is the cat that showed me the way um, in the knee of the other guy from Wish You Were Here. That I had to know where I have to go. You know the story, Karina?
The story with the cat?
Yes, in the
No,
knee.
tell it again.
You don't know that.
I just remember the time you were telling about cats, and on that day there was a cat who was coming into our house and was scared at the top of the building and
Okay.
was staying there for 2 days.
Wish you were here. Okay. So I started to analyze this picture. Silvester, magst du mal aufs Knie gehen? And there was very much hidden for me in this picture. Yeah. And it was clear where I have to go. This might be my challenge on the 11th of June 2020. And I took out of this picture, I have to go where the cat is. And the cat is here. Crazy guy. Yeah? Okay. So I got important information and I took it for serious. Okay. How many are here? 23. So again, more guys from Secret Service as real people. You had not been here yesterday, Karina?
I'm so sorry. I wanted to be there, and then I had friends over and we had like my brain was just, cooking.
Okay,
With so much talking, of course, about everything that's happening right now.
okay. And is anybody there from the States? Donna, Heidi? Oh, they all left me. Really? Just 23. And most of them are Secret Service. Hard stuff. So, Karina, what do you think what's happening these days? What's happening at the moment? What is their plan?
What is their plan? I mean, we see it on the news that we are the children and they keep on fooling us, and they say 2 weeks, then another 2 weeks, another 2 weeks. Oh, now it's so bad. Now we have to do it even worse. It's kindergarten, the way they treat us. They treat us like we are little children.
And
Our
what
souls are little children, and we believe that.
we do not, the others may. And
As a collective, they
yes.
are our brothers and sisters.
And what do you think is the big plan behind that, behind all that?
The big plan is that there must be a reduction, a reset. We're too many. They cannot handle us anymore.
Please take care of your words. They think or they tell us that we are too many. Doesn't mean that we are too many. Yeah?
Yes, of course. Of course, it's a lie. It's a lie. They keep on lying. So it's about decoding the lies.
Yeah. And what do you think is the actual plan, what they are going to do with this step, with this vaccination step?
Well, I think it's about total control, either way you put it. We had a talk yesterday. I don't know if it's appropriate to talk about it here, but we were thinking about all this espionage that is going on with our cell phones all the time, that we are wondering maybe they're spying on us to watch what kind of people we are, what kind of personalities. So it's about having 500 million. So they are not enough. They are not 500 million. So they still need some of us. So they are spying on us to watch what kind of persons we are. And then they can identify who is worth saving and who's not.
Okay. Then I show you the small video, the short video I'd shown you yesterday, where you had not been there. Okay.
And we have taken that virus and embedded it in the vaccine of this Stearns flu.
I knew it.
I knew it.
He created a panic, and now everybody's begging for the vaccine.
No. Demanding it with all the entitlement of a first world country.
Yes. And now we have exactly what we want. Hundreds of millions of Americans lining up, offering us their arms, and letting us give them our creation.
I'm pretty sure when every vaccinated person starts dying, they'll trace it back to undetectable virus or not.
You've all been very busy. You're all very sharp. Are you sure none of you would like to come and work for me? No? Better than dying a terrible, violent death? Then understand this. What we are doing is far bigger than death.
Wait, this virus is not deadly.
It looks pretty damn deadly.
Tell me this. What have you done today to earn your place in this crowded world? Exactly. Everything I do is a cure for our current situation.
And how's it a cure?
You're killing people.
I told you it does not kill. That was the amazing epiphany we had. We didn't have to kill to accomplish our goal.
What?
We intend to stop human reproduction for 3 generations. The busy, endless global assembly line of babies will grind to a halt.
You're sterilizing people?
Huh? In the first 5 years, we'll start to see major birth rate declines as teenagers vaccinated today hit their childbearing years.
You're controlling the future of human civilization.
Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to 0. Now that's back from high school algebra, but let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
Is this their plan? Is this their intention? That they want to sterilize our women?
Mm-hmm. You know, when I think about it, they don't even have to sterilize many women. They are giving up on their own, not having children anymore.
What they're doing anyhow. However, it might be a forced, a forced thing to inject something in you which will not, where you will not be able anymore to have children. Is this a nice idea?
Of course not.
Yeah. So, you know, we have a natural birth control, or a natural process, how we improve our genome, how we improve things, how we improve our human resources, our DNA code. It is about love. Yeah. So men and women, yeah, if they are not lovable, if they are not attractive, if a man cannot protect his woman, he is not actually attractive. And if we are full of, how we call, egos, with those selfish guys and those weak guys, I think this is a good selection process. Otherwise, we have somebody else who makes a selection. With this testing stuff, we have to give them our genome. And for one reason or another, they may select a special code of genome to be worth to have the possibility, still will have the possibility to reproduce. And I think up to now, it is human that this selection process is conducted by love. Yeah, and this may be now abolished, and somebody may play God, and he makes all the selection, or they make all the selection, or they may even be aliens. They may even be other species which now want to crowd this planet. Yeah. Though this might be really, really a war, an extinction war against human species. And I think we have to stand up. It's not possible that we allow this without a stand, without a fight. So being a chemist, I know what's possible from a technological point of view. And this might now be a very smart war. So every war has his special weapon. Yeah? So in the First World War you had nitroglycerin. Second World War you had the nuclear bomb. And now you have the perfect weapon to extinguish mankind. And you may have a, how you call it, a takeover, a not friendly takeover from another species, from another planet. They might be here already, and we just can't identify them, but they could be identified by the genome.
Bless you.
Thanks. So, you know, we don't know, but we have to make smart assumptions and try to disprove them. And I think it's quite clear that there are people, beings on this planet which doesn't come from here. But we don't see them as those. At the moment we don't have a selection idea, but it's quite probable they are here already. And perhaps they are allowed to reproduce themselves, and we have to vanish. So this would be now an extremely smart war. And so 99% of the people don't even have a clue of that, don't even have a clue of what's possible, don't even have a clue who really governs on the top of this hierarchy of power, and don't even have a clue what their plan might be. And this is stupid. And so we have to elicit this plan. We have to make it public and have to do all we can to make this plan understood by other people. Because this is the very last moment where it's possible that they become awake. If they don't become awake now, they will never. They will just die away. And I think some guys from the seventh dimension made now, put together a master plan how we master the situation. Martina, you are looking really funny with this thing. Okay, however, I'm quite accustomed to that, and okay, I can stand that. What shall we talk about today? What do you think? Any ideas, a special preference? If not, then I have one. So do you understand disease? What do you think disease is all about? So this is a kind of inspiration I got about 20 years ago. You know this guy, Anthony Robbins? Okay. So he consulted guys like Bill Clinton, Andrew Agassi, some quite famous guy who really improved by his consultants. And it was 2001 where I get the first part of that in Hawaii, September 2001. I think this seminar cost me about $20,000, so this information is quite expensive. So what do you think, how much money should you give me to spread this information further? Or whatever. Any idea? Do you want to motivate me to give you the information? In my seminar it costs just 300 euros. So any idea? At least a hug? Sometime, okay. So disease or cure. Some disease examples. A different look on diseases. So, now you see a bit more. Let's start with constipation. Yeah? So when normal people have some problems with their intestine, they go to a medical doctor, get some pharmaceuticals, and it's fine. What about if constipation is something like a nutraceutical deficiency or a deficiency of nutrients? And the intestine is smart and tries everything to get nutrients out of the rest of your food, because there are not so many nutrients still in your normal food. And your intestine does all to get it out. So I make the assumption that our body cells are quite intelligent. And they do the best in our favor. If we are not aware that there is a deficiency of nutrients in our normal food, we might have a problem if we think our intestine doesn't work in perfect favor of us. But perhaps the cells of our intestine do its very best. So when people have a problem with their intestine, that the peristaltic, doesn't work as quick as they think it should work, is it possibly a problem with the deficiency of nutrients in our normal food? I just ask questions. Or the opposite of that, diarrhea. Is it possible that this is, when we have diarrhea, it's actually something good? That is a detoxification of our body via our intestine? Just asking questions. We have a cold, running nose, and people go to the medical doctor and want to get some pharmaceuticals. Is it possible that this is actually a good thing? That by the fluid which is running out, our lung may be cleansed. If we have some skin irritations, pimples, something like that, we don't like that, is it? But is it possible that from the way our body works, it is the best solution to get the dirt, the toxins out of in a very direct way? And we have to become aware there are toxins in our body, and they have to get out directly. If we start to understand that, we might do the right things in future. But if we think this is not perfect, we are going to a medical doctor, he gives us something, and it might improve on a short notice. We interfere with the intelligence of our body in a perfect, not very smart way. Or if we are going to a medical doctor and he states we have a high blood cholesterol level, and then he gives us something to get it down, a pharmaceutical, because he tells us this is not good. We have to deregulate it, or to have to regulate it with a pharmaceutical tool. Is it possible that we have a deficiency of some enzymes in our body? Does anybody know the chemical structure of cholesterol? No? Okay, then I'll show you. Gehst du mal auf?
Yeah.
Okay, this is the chemical structure of cholesterol. And this is the chemical structure of the molecule which makes a man. Without that, a man is not a man. And here you see that this hydroxy group has to be exchanged by this alkyl group. So it's a very easy chemical reaction to exchange that by that. But in order to make that, this is really complex. This is hard stuff, even for a chemist. To exchange this, it's easy, but to build that, it's very difficult. So, and you have to know that maximum 20% of our cholesterol comes from butter or egg, something like that. So 80% of the cholesterol our body produces itself. So why do you think our body, the chemical intelligence of our body is so low that the body is doing that by stupidity? Or does the assumption make sense that there's a reason why our body is producing that in a higher level? on a higher level. Is it possible that we don't have enough of the perfect enzymes in our body to make testosterone? Estrogen is looking very similar to that. So many enzymes are very similar to this one. So this is actually, using a better word for that, a pro-hormone. So having an elevated level of cholesterol is just an indication that our enzyme system isn't perfect, that we have a deficiency of some trace elements. And a normal medical doctor who does not understand chemistry may come to the conclusion that he has to regulate over by pharmaceuticals. And now giving our body a real problem. Stating that we have elevated cholesterol is, from a chemical viewpoint, a strong indication that our enzyme level isn't perfect. Do you know the difference between an enzyme, a vitamin, or do you know what an enzyme is? Who does know what's an enzyme?
What I know might be wrong, but I thought it's a part of the DNA. Not only, but the DNA is built up of enzymes.
Okay. So actually, in my normal seminar, I start explaining enzymes. Perhaps I should do though. I should do that. Okay, then perhaps I have to start on another start. It's about the peak of our biochemistry pyramid, of our biochemical hierarchy, our immune system. So immune cells are looking like that. Yeah, they are a kind of submarines swimming, diving through our body liquids and cleansing things, eating cells which may be identified not to be human, like that, like parasites. And it looks like this. So this is, you call it a macrophage. This is a bacteria, these are red blood cells. Oh, this little movie, or this little video shows anyhow that the assumption on virology and vaccination are basically wrong. But that's another thing we shall discuss at another situation. So you see there's a bacteria and there are our immune cells, and our immune cells are hunting these. And the immune cell doesn't do it by touching it, but there's a remote process to localize the bacteria. And even the bacteria has a remote view or a remote procedure to identify this chasing immune cell. And so it's clear that our immune cell must have some technological units in order to do so. And those technological units actually comes from something like trace elements. So those trace elements are a form of biophysical device in our body in order to function in an optimal way. And the way we age, the way we become older, sticks very much to the performance of our immune cells. The better our immune cells perform, the slower is our process of aging. Because aging has very much to do with the speed of how quick our body is full of dirt. Yeah? So the more we are, our lifespan has something to do with the toxification process, with an accumulation of waste. And when we cleanse our body, we become younger. When we get rid of bacteria, parasites, we get younger. And the more they multiply itself, the dirt, parasites, bacteria, the faster we age. So the process of aging is very much combined by the performance of our immune cells. And all strategies to slow down the process of aging has something to do to improve the performance of our immune cells. And so starting with age of 20, something like that, we start aging. By the age of 20, our immune cells are the performance of our immune cells will decrease. So the strategy is to stay young for a long time is to have a very high performance of our immune cells. So what is our immune system? If you would put it in one sentence, it's not so easy to put it in one sentence. However, a guy who I do respect very much, perhaps you know this guy, is called Deepak Chopra. And his idea of the immune cell is, our immune cell is the perfect team of chemists, medical doctors, farmers, biologists, which when they have access towards a perfectly equipped biochemical laboratory, this team will synthesize the perfect active, the perfect molecules by investing the lowest amount of energy, by producing the lowest amount of byproduct in this process. In order to produce, synthesize molecules and agent which works perfectly for this assignment, and this team with this perfectly equipped laboratory um, administer this active on the perfect place, in the perfect location, in the perfect time, in the perfect doses. And for me, this is a very smart definition of our immune system, because this gives us an idea what we have to do to improve our immune system. And it's all about to equip our biochemical laboratory in an optimal way, in a perfect way. So many people think food is about calories and energy, and I have another idea toward that. So I select my food in order to get the perfect nutraceuticals, the perfect chemical, biochemical and biophysical tools called nutrients, in order that my system works in a perfect way. So I do not focus on calories or something like that. But I think we have a very smart body. We have very smart intestine cells who select what shall go in and what shall go through. However, this equipment for our biochemical laboratory, this has to be first inside of our food. If it is not there, it's very difficult or very elaborated that we produce the basic chemicals, the basic biochemical chemicals for this biochemical laboratory. So normal people eat, they think there must be an amount of something on their plate. Yeah? And I look a little bit deeper. I look inside of the food and think, and have an idea, what are the biochemical ingredients of that food that my immune system needs, where my laboratory benefits from. So when you want to make good chemistry, you have to have a good equipped laboratory. And we are doing chemistry in our body. And so my focus is that the things I give to my body is rich on nutraceuticals. Nutraceutical is a term for those ingredients of my biochemical laboratory. So what do you think are the most important ingredients of our biochemical laboratory? What, if you select those ingredients in different classes, what is the most important class in our, what are the most important substances in our biochemical laboratory? Any idea? Donna, tell me.
Water. I don't know. I would say water.
So water is a bulk material, yeah? What is important? Sure. But, you know, if you're looking, I'm accustomed to look on the tip of the pyramid. So there might be some things which which you cannot put on a scale and evaluate by their mass, but where you need just little of it, but this little has a very important meaning. Yeah. And yes, water is important, but this is a bulk material. So we are looking on the tip of the pyramid. Yeah. What are the most important ingredients? What are the most important nutraceuticals? What are the most important biochemical species in our body, in our biochemical laboratory. What do you think?
I think it's minerals.
Pardon?
Minerals.
Minerals. Yes and no.
Magnesium?
Well, then it's trace elements.
Maybe. Why? So, okay.
Magnesium?
So the most important species in our biochemical laboratory are called enzymes. These are quite bulky molecules, consist out of 100,000 of atoms. Most of them have a protein-like structure. They consist out of amino acids, and those amino acids contain nitrogen, hydrogen, oxygen, and carbon. We also call it honk. Yeah, so we have about 100,000 of honk atoms. The important thing about enzymes, normally in their center, they have a catalytic active metal. Bless you. Bless you again. And these are the biochemical active sites in those enzymes. And you know, we know enzymes which may rip into pieces some molecules. About, I think, the most active enzyme destructs about 400,000 carbonaceous acid molecules into its parts, though they destruct about 100,000 of molecules in a second. Yeah? So they have a really vast turnover number. We call it how many molecules does it synthesize or rips into parts in 1 second. That's called turnover numbers. And there are enzymes who really have turnover numbers about 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. And they just do not work for 1 second, but for hours, days, weeks, months. And there you get an idea how important these enzymes are for our body. So, compared to vitamins, yeah, vitamins are many times just molecules which reactivates special enzymes. Yeah, so vitamins are a one-off tool. But enzymes work for a long time in our body. And this is why enzymes are so important. When we have a deficiency of enzymes, we really have a big problem. And you have to be aware that those catalytic active metals who are in the centers of those enzymes, they decide whether they are able to work or not. Whether this cloudy structure of honk atoms will work or not. So, in order that those enzymes are produced, synthesized in our body, it's a lot of work, a lot of biochemical work we have to do. And this is all for nothing. This is good for nothing when the right catalytic active metal isn't in our food. So many people think we are toxificated by poisons when we get too much of it. On a logarithmic scale, this might be the perfect level of a nutrient. This is a toxic level. And this is the undertoxic level. Here we have an undertoxification. So this is a logarithmic scale. So if we don't have enough of those catalytic active metals which activates those enzymes, we have a big problem. However, normal signs of nutrition, those undertoxic levels are not regarded, are disregarded. And so many enzymes of our body are not identified. And I would put it in these words, they're nutritional scientists who do not understand so good chemistry and the basics of chemistry, who very much underrate the importance of those catalytic active metals which activates our enzymes. So, and the next question is, what do you think are the most important catalytic active metals? So, do you think that's reasonable when those enzymes have so much importance, so many duties in our body, that they have an enormous duty of work to do? And if they don't work in the right way, we have a problem. You know, about 90% of our cells, of the molecules in our body, will be exchanged in the scope of 12 months. So we are kind of a house, of houses, which are reconstructed in the scope of 12 months. This reconstruction is an ongoing process. And if we do not have the right construction tools, our house will early break down. It becomes, it looks, in a very short notice, it doesn't look nice. And it will break down many years before its actually potential. So in order for this reconstruction process, it's extremely important that we have the right tools, the right construction tools. And it's not so much about the construction material, but the construction tools are much more important. And so when you look on this hierarchy, so the construction material is the bulk material. When you make statistics, it's easy to identify bulk material. But when you make the statistics, the tip of the hierarchy is in a kind of blind spot. With normal statistics, you cannot grab that. You only grab that by chemical understanding, by chemical deduction. Is this logic? Does it make sense for you? That with normal statistics, you will not find the tools, because the tools are compared to construction material. You will not find it with normal statistical methods. So you have to understand chemistry in order to have an idea what are the biochemical tools in order to reconstruct our body in the scope of 12 months. You may have all the perfect construction material, but if you do not have the right tools, it's good for nothing. And if you understand that you have here only one catalytic active metal atom, just one atom, which activates this vast bulky enzyme for a long time. And if you would term it a biochemical lever, and this lever moves a lot of things. If you have this catalytic active metal in your food, and if it's not in your food, you have a problem. But we speak about very small amounts, which you cannot detect with normal statistics, with normal nutritional scientific methods. You have to understand chemistry. Though
Which
what
you're going to help us do, right?
Pardon?
Which you're going to help us do.
Yes, sure.
Okay.
So the question is, what are the most important catalytic active metals? What are the most active catalytic active metals? And we call it the volcano slope. Yeah? You measure that in electrochemistry. Here you have all these metals like zinc, copper, cobalt, gold, iridium, platinum, vanadium. And here you have the catalytic activity of all those catalytic metals. So the metal or the element with the lowest turnover number, with the lowest catalytic activity, is mercury or lead or cadmium. And those metals with the highest catalytic activity are the precious metals like palladium, rhodium, gold, iridium, palladium, rhenium, ruthenium. And this correlates to the lattice energy of the metal. So the stronger the forces inside of the lattice, the stronger the atoms stick to each other, yeah, the higher the catalytic activity. So it's very difficult to get out of a lattice of gold to rip out a single atom. Or it's extremely difficult if you have a piece of metal of iridium get out an atom. That's extremely difficult. You need very high energy for that. And the bad thing about that is that the more difficult it is to get out some atoms out of a lattice, yeah, the lower is the bioavailability of the metal. Yeah? So those on the top have actually a very low biochemical get them in a high bioavailability. And the other thing is because they like to build very small metals, very small crystals. And because they like to form very small crystals, they are very difficult to analyze, because we chemists can only analyze things when we have them in a singular structure. Though for normal analytical methods in nutritional chemistry, nutritional analysis, those elements on the top of this slope, they are in a blind spot. So normally we cannot test them. And we have no idea about the degree of bioavailability, because the bioavailability relates to the size of this small crystal. This is why in nutritional chemistry they know very near to nothing about those elements, metals on the top of the slope. But from a chemical or biochemical viewpoint, they must be the most important elements, trace elements. Yeah. However, trace elements is a misleading word. So they must be the most important ingredients in our food. And when our food lacks these high active catalytic metals, from a biochemical viewpoint, it makes sense that they have a very negative influence on our health. And not just on our health, or not just on our physical health, but also on our mental health, or on our intelligence. Oh, this is the core problem. Most of those nutraceutical or food scientists don't understand the chemistry behind that. And so if you compare platinum to mercury, platinum is 1 billion times more active compared to mercury. You just need one atom to activate an enzyme. And now you understand why mercury is such a strong poison. Because actually, when you have an enzyme which works on the base of platinum, and when you exchange this platinum atom or ion with a mercury ion, this thing is more or less dead, because platinum is 1 billion times more active. And those center ions are relatively easy to exchange. So they are not fixed so strong. And so in normal nutraceutical science, those enzymes, how they work, is more or less not discussed. So the most important thing in our nutrition leads to the most important thing of our immune system, which is not focused, which is not discussed in our nutraceutical science. And from a biochemical viewpoint, this is more or less ridiculous. So they talk about everything which doesn't matter. And the things that do matter, they don't talk about. And I tried it to make it not so chemical, yeah. But you have to get an idea what an enzyme is and how an enzyme works, or a catalyst. You have your educt, your starting molecule, and you want to make a product out of it. And you have to hear the energy, and you elevate your energy and come from, this is a valley, this is an energy valley. And you have to go over the mountain to another energy valley. And the better enzyme or catalyst works, the high of the mountain is reduced. So it's a question whether by normal body temperature a process will work or will not work. And the better a catalyst works or an enzyme works, the easier it is and the quicker is the reaction. And you have to know that all those elements, high catalytic elements, are normally in our food, because normally it's in our soil. But when our soil is depleted in special catalytic active elements, it cannot go into our food and it can't go into our body. So it can't go in our enzymes and cannot activate our enzymes, and we have a lack of tools for our reconstruction process. But the numbers of high catalytic active metals is quite small. However, even this small amount makes all the difference. So if you look on the normal food, it might look okay, but if you look on a biochemical, with a biochemical view, the most important nutrients might be not there anymore. This is now about enzymes. Maybe I explain you the problem. In former times, we had trees, forest, wood, and the roots of our trees really goes deep down into the soil, 10, 15 meters. And you know, there is gold, there is silver, there is platinum in the soil, but as very small crystals. Yes, their solubility in this water, in the groundwater, is quite small, but to a special extent they are soluble, and they will be very diluted in this water in the soil. And now the tree sucks in the water. And with this water, the roots suck from the soil. Those elements will go into the tree. And now you evaporate, the tree evaporates the water. And also those precious elements, those elements with very low solubility are enriched, are accumulated. And by some time, they are accumulated to quite a high degree. And then you have a saturation of those elements, and you build small crystals. And those crystals they build themselves like pearls inside how you call Muschel?
Shell.
Like small, thank you, like small shells inside a shell, like small. I'm really tired today. It's quite a little bit late. Like small pearls inside a shell, yeah. And you have to know a tree is an accumulator for those very important catalytic active metals. And they accumulate those active metals in the perfect shape, in the perfect bioavailability. So they are very small particles, nano-sized particles. And in this size, it's perfectly bioavailable. But this is a process which lasts decades. Yes? And when you take this tree and the normal soil out of the production process of our food, you must have a deficiency of extremely important catalytic active metals in your food. The tree has an extremely important process that we get the right food which supports our biochemical function. Without the tree, the food must have a deficiency of those high catalytic active metals. And nobody tells you that. So with normal food you get, you will have enough of the normal bulk nutraceuticals, bulk nutrients. But the most important nutrients we need, our immune system needs in order to function perfect, we nearly have no chance by normal agricultural methods. So this soil is gone. And now we have that, where 3 times a year the same thing is harvested from the field. And they use an artificial fertilizer, mainly containing nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. But actually we have 80 different elements in our soil, in our food, in our body. And the balance of elements is massively changed by our modern agricultural methods. And then you have genetic modified plants which come along with this fertilizer and this soil and this empty soil. And if there are still some trace elements, high catalytic active metals in there, then you have a very smart process of refinery. And here you have 0 of those most important nutrients your immune system needs. And this is why we age and get sick so fast. So disease is actually, there's actually no need of. If you know the basic chemistry, the basic biochemistry, which works in your body, you would understand that the things you get in the supermarket are more or less empty of the most important nutrients. But nobody tells you that those nutrients, on top of this volcano slope, you really need. but from a chemical viewpoint, yeah, chemistry is all about optimize processes, biochemical processes. And so the best catalyst or the best activator for our enzymes are here the peak of this volcano slope. And nobody tells you that. So you see, I'm 95 years old. You wouldn't expect that in the first place, is it? Would you? Yeah. So it's all about, I know the background. And so actually it's easy to reach an age of 200, 250, something like that. But you have to know this knowledge. And you have to know how you get these elements into your body in a bioavailable shape, in a bioavailable modification, in a normal bioavailable modification. And that's my actual topic. I work for that now for about 15 years. And that's why I'm looking not like a 95-year-old man. You think I'm kidding you? No, I'm serious. I'm 95. I think 15 years ago, I told the people I'm 80. There was a guy who, after the seminar, come to the guy who organized the seminar. Oh, Dr. Noack is really 80? I never thought that. Okay. I think this is now a nice lullaby for tonight, for today, is it? And we shall proceed tomorrow. And tomorrow we start our 24-hour Zoom. So tomorrow we have even more time for lullabies. Yeah?
Then have a good night.
Yeah, have a good night.
Have a good night too, you all. Thank you that you're there.
Okay.
Have a
Thank
big hug and see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.